Hey everybody, welcome back to another beautiful day in real estate. So today, you guys, there's not much in the news, so we're going to talk about why moving to North Dakota is the right choice in 2026 and moving forward. North Dakota is a resilient state, and a lot of people throw shade on North Dakota, and we have a saying here: you can watch your dog run away for 3 days straight because we're so flat. But here's the thing: we're a boring state, but we're a strong state. And I'll explain why in my video today. But before we jump in, we're going to go to the interest rates. As always, interest rates, you guys, moved up slightly today. Reason is because we talked about it yesterday. Oil prices look like they were about to bounce. And guess what? They did. They bounced exactly where we kind of anticipated that might be. It was kind of the bottom of the channel where it could have seen a bounce. First point of resistance is that $92 range. This is, again, that WTI crude spot oil, and it is still under $100 a barrel. The main reason that it kind of sits where it sits is because, well, we'll jump into that in just a second, but we're talking about the same thing kind of happened yesterday with the bonds, 10-year bonds. We're kind of finding a bit of support. It opened up this morning, kind of went up. Again, I think we're probably heading towards that 4.44 again, that 4.43 range before we head down at this point. The news came out that they held the ceasefire, which is what we were going to be talking about here in just a second. But basically, we'll just kind of read it. Based on the fact that the government of Iran is seriously fractured, not unexpectedly so, and upon the request of the Field Marshal Asim Munir, can't say that name wrong, sorry, and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif of Pakistan, we have been asked to hold our attack on the country of Iran until such time as the oils and representatives can come up with a unified proposal. I have therefore directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able, and will therefore extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded one way or the other. President Donald Trump. Okay, so the extent of the ceasefire, we kind of talked about that yesterday, how we were expecting to see something happen, obviously, before the end of the day. And he came out basically last night and said, listen, we're going to continue the ceasefire. We want to see a deal. But there were sources saying that we had some people from the United States come to Pakistan to negotiate, and Iran basically said, no, we didn't send anybody there. I don't know why you guys are there. And then put out a video trolling Trump. So it's going to be an interesting weekend. I mean, we're already over halfway through the week. The week feels like it's flying by already. But anyway, so again, we are just kind of in a holding pattern until we have a little bit more, I don't know how to put it, I guess, until we have more certainty, really. I mean, that's the big thing that's holding people right now. We're getting back into the busy market, like I talked about, and the biggest argument I'm seeing in North Dakota, we're going to slide over to North Dakota right away, and the biggest thing I'm seeing in North Dakota is that North Dakota doesn't have any inventory, which honestly doesn't really surprise me. Like I said before, those charts stating that there's 43% more sellers out there, there's, foreclosures have doubled since last year, all of these things, they're pointing towards real estate as it's this terrible thing now. But here's the thing. I talked to somebody who is moving from California. They listed their house, had 6 offers in 5 days. You guys, the market's not slowing down in most of the United States. There are some places where there is significantly more sellers than there is buyers. Florida is a big one because of the Airbnb market. The Airbnb market, when I went down there and talked to somebody, I don't know, it was probably 3 years ago, I was talking to a buddy of mine who runs a company down there, 53,000, I believe is the number he told me, Airbnbs just around Orlando. That's not the whole state. That's around Orlando. In my mind, I'm like, ooh, that's a bubble waiting to implode. Guess what? It did. Florida right now is a terrible real estate market. Don't get me wrong. There's still everything's still like things are still selling, but there's an insane influx of inventory through Florida, right? New York is another one. New York, with new policies in New York City, a lot of big people are trying to go across the river into New Jersey. That's a big one too. I mean, we've seen New Jersey. I read this yesterday. New Jersey has seen one of the highest increases of equity or property increased value in the most recent years than any other state. Why? Because a lot of people are moving from New York City to New Jersey because they can literally go on the bridge, go under in the tunnel, whatever, and they're back in the city. But the policies don't transfer, and that's a problem. That's for a different conversation. But let's jump into North Dakota and why it's a beautiful place to live. So Claude is my new favorite AI. It builds some awesome charts, makes everything look good, pulls the data I need, and it made something beautiful for me today. So we're going to go over it. But it says, why to move to North Dakota, the most affordable state in America with one of the strongest economies you've never heard about. This is extremely true. We have an insanely strong economy in North Dakota. We have a surplus in funds at the government level. We have oil, we have gas, we have coal. We have tons of natural resource jobs, and they are building a lithium plant, I believe, in Beulah, which is north of Bismarck. We are seeing a weird influx of people coming from major big cities, and they're buying super small town homes, like homes in super small towns, I should say. Somebody I talked to the other day, they working with a client who's moving from New York. No, it was New Orleans. Moving from New Orleans to North Dakota in the smallest town. It was like 25 or like 200 people. It was a small town. And they said they're just sick of it because it's an hour away from Bismarck, which is about their drive every day anyways in the big city. So now they can go to a peaceful, quiet neighborhood and like their commute doesn't change, except guess what? They sold their house for over $1 million. They bought one for $150,000. To me, that seems like a no-brainer. I don't personally want to live in the smallest city in North Dakota, but that's another conversation for another day. So anyways, the North Dakota is substantially strong. We are seeing a huge influx of people moving from different states, especially big metropolitan areas, because again, it's one of the most affordable states. Right now, I think the data should be on here, but right now on average, people are making, I want to say $75,000 was the median income per household, $75,000. And people might say, oh, that's not a lot. But think about it this way. I mean, in North Dakota, things are a lot cheaper for the most part. Even though real estate has gone up, don't get me wrong, $281,000 for the median home value is obviously the whole state, okay? But if we think of Fargo, we think of Bismarck, and we think of, I'm trying to think of some other big places around here, bigger, I should say. I would say Dickinson and Watford City and Williston. Those are probably the 5 bigger neighborhoods. Minot doesn't have a lot of building going on. Right now I'm working with a client or a customer who wants to build in Minot, and there's no builders. Williston, there's no builders up there. Dickinson, very few. Fargo, there's a lot more builders out there, but again, it's like the biggest part of North Dakota, and then Bismarck, right? So outside of those major areas, you have tons of small, couple thousand, 300, 10,000 people. Like there's not really a place that's overpopulated in North Dakota. And it's why a lot of people are starting to move here, because they're sick and tired of the big cities. They're tired of an hour commute to work every single day, stuck in traffic. They're sick of paying overpriced for everything from gas to rent to items that you need to eat, that you want, clothes, whatever. Like, don't get me wrong. I looked at moving to Florida. Love the nice weather. Absolutely would be there in a heartbeat if I got the right job. But here's the thing. North Dakota made more sense because I could stay here, build a family in a safe environment, right? That's another thing. Crime is not nearly as bad. I talked to a police officer buddy of mine. Q1, we posted the best numbers we've seen in a long time, where robberies were down, stabbings were down, murders were down. Like, it was nuts. And then it came back to Q2. And as soon as it got warm out, all of a sudden he's responding to a bunch of stabbings and shootings. But it's nowhere near as bad as the big cities, for one. The other thing is, the school system here isn't the top tier best school system in the world. But again, I have a buddy who works in the school system right now. And dude, it's safe schools. Like, our biggest school in town here is Mandan High School. And it's a big place. But it's not unsafe. You know what I mean? There's not, I know this isn't every big city, but in some cities, you have metal detectors in some schools, things like that. Like, none of that is a thing here. People can walk home from school and feel comfortable. If you want your kid to play out in the backyard, it's usually a pretty safe environment, depending on where you're placed in Bismarck, Mandan. But that's just, On top of that, unemployment rate is 2.3%, so significantly low. Max state income tax 2.5%, and again, feel safe state is 70% of the people from data that was pulled, right? Now, real estate growth over 10 years. Now, this is again a national or a statewide average. This isn't Bismarck, Mandan. This isn't Fargo. This is everything, right? So it's saying over the last 10 years, we've seen an increase. Basically, other than 2016, we saw 0.5% decrease in equity growth or median home value. And then we saw 1, 3, 2, 5, 12 during the COVID times, 7%, 8% almost in 2022. 23, 24, we kind of leveled back out. But we did see a significant increase. Right now in Bismarck, I believe the average for a home purchased is about $425,000. And right now the market has slowed. Don't get me wrong, it's slowed, and people are coming back to reality. And homes are being listed under $400,000 that have 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 4 beds, 2 baths, whatever it might be, 22 to 3,000 square feet in some cases, 3-stall garage, fully fenced yard. Like it's you can get a good home, right? And not only that, but you can also get a decent job around here. And a lot of companies are working with a lot of people to have good wealth around here. I shouldn't say good wealth, but a good income, right? I mean, if you go work at the coal mines, you work at the refineries, you go work at jeepers. If you go up and do oil field work, I mean, there's tons of good paying jobs. Electricians out here do very, very well as well, because a lot of people are moving here, but it's still kind of a secluded state in a lot of ways, right? So real GDP record high in 2025 of 63.68 billion. GDP per capita 6th in the U.S. at 79,500. Unemployment among the lowest at 2.3. We talked about that. Open jobs right now is about 40,000. The population is about 796. So we have less people here than most metropolitan areas in the entire state of North Dakota. Ooh, does it feel nice? Don't get me wrong. I like going to the big cities. I like going to New York, Colorado, Denver, Springs, Orlando, Portland. I do love going to all those places, but that's something that most people overlook. They say, oh, it's boring there. Right. But here's the thing. In North Dakota, I make enough money and it's low enough to live on that I can actually travel 5-6 times a year and go anywhere I want to go. So I get all the amenities for the year, but I don't have to spend all the money. I'm not locked into a place like, again, Orlando. If we were locked into Orlando, we probably would have been able to travel and do our thing, but we wouldn't have been able to travel as much. So we'd be closer to like bigger city amenities, but we wouldn't be able to do as much as we really wanted to do, right? So that was a big decision that made us stick around. We'll say that, right? Oh, and I was right. 77,871 is the national or the ND median household income, and $75,000 for U.S. median household income. Oh, okay. So we're a little bit higher than the national average. Average over 38% are making $100,000 plus. Full-time median salary is typically around $59,000. You guys, I live in a small house here. You don't need a lot, right? You don't need a big house. We're going to do something bigger this year because we're expanding our family and such. But here's the thing. In North Dakota, if you aren't, again, not having the big city amenities helps you in a lot of ways, right? Don't get me wrong, rent's going up, and to me, $2,500 a month to rent a twin home seems a little bit insane. But then again, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I guess, I was renting an apartment, 2-bedroom apartment for $675 a month. Things have changed pretty significantly in 6 years. But anyways, you don't have these big places to go and do stuff. I mean, around here, the big thing a lot of people do is they go out and have some drinks and go do the thing, right? But they also have a ton of they also have a lot of fun things to do in the summertime. We're getting bigger. We're adding more items. But anyways, long story short, it's just one of those places that feels homey. We have the North Dakota nice mentality around here. If you've ever been here in the wintertime, that I should say this. If you've ever been here through a blizzard, you'll realize how nice people are. People literally get up to drive around North Dakota, Bismarck, Mandan with a tow rope and a truck. So that anybody who gets stuck in the snow, they're like, hey, man, let me pull you out. And then off with their day. North Dakota nice is a big thing around here. I mean, it's gone down some in the last few years, right? Like, I'm not saying it's a perfect place by any stretch of the means, but I'm working with a couple of people right now that moved from different parts of the world and ended up in North Dakota, and they love it here because it's safe, it's affordable, it's one of those things, right? So tax burden comparison. North Dakota, okay, and I'm looking at my screen to my right, guys, just so you know. Top margin in-state income tax, 2.5%. South Dakota is 0. South Dakota is kind of an interesting state place anyways, but 10% almost for Minnesota, Wisconsin 7, 7.6, 5.7, and Nebraska, or Iowa 5.7, and Nebraska 5.8. So our income tax is pretty significantly low. Again, leading back to the abundance of resources, we have a fund here in North Dakota, which is oh crap, why can't I think of the name of it? Anyways, long story short, we have like 400 million additional funds that are sitting in an account somewhere that we've accumulated as a surplus in North Dakota. Because again, of the strong economy, the oil industries, things like that. And they're actually working to pass some bills right now. Again, this I'm not going to jump into that conversation about how they write the bills, but the conversation is how can we create free school lunches for students? And I'm on board with that because again, I don't think anybody should starve because their parents can't make ends meet or because they're not good people or whatever the case is, right? Kids deserve to be in a safe environment as well. But anyhow, there's a surplus, so they have the capability to do so. Not only that, but something for real estate. You have in North Dakota now a $1,600 tax incentive, essentially. So you can apply beginning of January 1st to April 15th, I believe it is. You can apply with your address and you can get $1,600 off your property taxes in a year. My property taxes sit around $3,700 a year. And this year it'll be at about, what are we at? Like $2,100? Dude, that saves a pretty significant amount on my monthly payment, $1,600, and you get the check back at the end of the year because my payment doesn't change, but I get the refund, so I get a $1,600 check right around April. They're talking about raising it to $2,000. These programs help people move here because, again, tax burdens are so high in other states like California. The taxes out there are insane. The taxes in New York, insane. Taxes in Florida, they're getting better. They're trying to work on the model, but big numbers there too, right? Economic pillars, energy and oil, agriculture. We have tons of farms out here. You guys, if you come out here, you take an hour drive. If you're from the big city, an hour away, you can be at the lake. You can be at Lake Sakakawea enjoying some fresh air, some sunshine. It's peaceful. If you want to go just drive out in the country, there's plenty of dirt roads to get lost on and enjoy some fresh air. And people say, well, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. But I'm telling you, man, there's some tranquility with just going out there and being able to relax in the middle of, pardon my French, but bumfuck nowhere. Oh, it's nice. It just gets you away from the world. Technology, fast-growing sector. We are seeing more data centers. We have a huge data center being put in south of Jamestown here. That's another place that's actually pretty decently sized. But again, providing more jobs, being a stronger technology, construction. We are big for new construction in Bismarck, Fargo, West Fargo metro areas. New construction homes, you guys, I said it last year. I'll say it again every time I talk about it. But North Dakota, the year of the buyer, the year of the builder, because there is no inventory. Builders are offering incentives to keep the doors open, to keep things moving. That's where we're at. Oh, healthcare. Don't even get me started on healthcare. Right now, you can make tons of money in the healthcare system in North Dakota. Nobody wants to move here. Traveling nurses are making $40-some an hour, and they're getting per diems of $3,000 a month. And it fluctuates, but the most recent guy I talked to, he's making almost $50 an hour, $3,000 a month in per diem just to live. So he's renting out a place for $1,700 a month, pocketing $1,300. Plus, they get benefits for lunches, dinners, etc. They get per diems for that. So people are making hand over fist in the Bismarck-Mandan area. It's boring. Big whoop. Most of us here are kicking ass, and that's why this market's so awesome. Top reasons to move to North Dakota. Homes 80K below the national average. 80,000, again, 360,000. $360,000 will buy you a pretty fair house. I mean, my house is 6 years old. It's worth about 340,000. Beautiful home. I mean, in a beautiful neighborhood. We're 2 blocks away from a brand new elementary school. There's a brand new development going in down the street. 10 minutes away from any part of Bismarck. I've got the brand new, not brand new, but a new wellness center over here, phenomenal wellness center that's 2 blocks away. Raging Rivers, which is the water park just down the street, like plenty of amenities. I'm 5 minutes away from a highway that can take me north, south, east, whatever I want to go. It's beautiful. It's just it's one of those things that we take for granted in North Dakota, but when you start talking about it, you're like, man, this is a good place to be, right? Home appreciation. 12.9% appreciation, nearly gained 13% in a single year. Buyers who entered 5 years ago have now massive equity growth. Again, because we are seeing such an influx of people moving to North Dakota, that prices are going up. So again, Bismarck was a 6.6% return or increase in equity on average in a year. I'm telling you, buy a freaking house in North Dakota, you guys. Near zero state income tax, 2.5%. My income tax are pretty juicy every year when I pay my taxes because nowadays I never get taxes back. I always have to pay them. Lowest cost in living in America. Groceries, 8% below the national average. Average rent is $960 a month to the $1,600 nationally. Utilities below average too. More jobs than workers, 40,000 open jobs for the population of 796,000, the highest labor force participation rate in the entire U.S. Again, super strong outdoor recreation space. You guys, again, it's a smaller place, but it's a place of peace. You can go to Fort Lincoln here. It's 20 miles south of town, literally. Nice drive, peaceful drive, beautiful farms the way down there. And then you get into a camping area. Peaceful. It's so nice there, you guys. It's just one of those places you can rent a cabin, you can bring a tent, you can bring a camper, you can do whatever you want. You can go fishing in the Missouri River, you can go on the biking trails, like you can go out and do that stuff. I'm so excited for my kid to get older because that's what we're going to be doing, man. We're going to be enjoying life. And record GDP. So again, we saw per capita, ranked 6th in the nation at $79,500. The state has a Moody's AA1 and S&P AA bond rating. So we have a super strong rating when it comes to it. And last but not least, 18-minute average commute. Tight-knit communities, 70% of residents feel safe, second highest confidence nationally. You guys, if that doesn't bring you at least to consider moving to North Dakota, I'm sorry, but you don't deserve our amazing state. This place is beautiful. It's well taken care of. It's safe. It's a good place to make money, to save, to invest, to gain equity in a house, to build a life, a community, and a friendships. It's one of those places I've never experienced anywhere else, and I'm glad that we never moved to Florida because this is one of the places I'm always going to enjoy. So with that being said, thanks for watching. If you're considering moving to Bismarck, North Dakota, Mandan, somewhere around here, reach out to me, DM me, comment below, like and follow for more videos. We're going to keep bringing good educational content. We're going to keep teaching you about good places, good things to be looking for in the housing market. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.